Welcome back, everybody, to Music Talk. I'm Dave.
I'm Mike.
That's Mike.
Yeah, that's Dave.
Speaking of brothers. All right, so we've been trashed enough on our last review. So
Probably.
at this point, we probably got 100 people yelling at us.
I haven't looked at it yet.
Yeah. So anyway, this CD we're doing, I think we'll probably agree quite a bit on this one. And this is Edgar Winter, the new one from Edgar Winter called Brother Johnny.
Yep.
It looks like this. Got both of them up there, looking like they always do. Got the inside cover. They're in there chilling. Yep. There's the CD. There's some pictures of them, their mom there, and they were kids. Pretty cool. Then on the back, you got a list of all the guests over here that's playing on here, and then you got all the tracks.
Right.
And let me go ahead and show you the CD since it's so anxious to come out. And there's the CD. Looks like them two when they were little kids, little fellers there. And then you got this awesome book that comes with it. And it's got Monique and Edgar on the front. I don't know what the dog's name is. I never found out what the dog's name is. But
Scratch.
That's Monique, his wife of 42 years now.
Yeah, there you go.
Maybe longer now. So he's got a story. He tells the story. There's Johnny there. That's what he looked like when my band opened up for him. Best show I ever had. So he's got this story. He talks about them coming up as kids and starting to learn to play music and, you know, their life. He breaks down a lot of stuff about the songs, talks about who did what on them and how he got them on here, and how they decided what song each people would play. And there's another picture of Johnny. And then we get to the track. Here's some more pictures. These are all the people that have played on it. There's Taylor Hawkins that we just lost.
Yeah, this is actually, to interrupt you there, this is the last recording session that Taylor Hawkins did.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. And we'll talk about that song in a minute because it surprised me a little bit. There's a few other people on here that we recognize. These are the songs and who played what on each song. Again, there's 17 songs, but this album, 17 songs, wasn't even enough. I wanted more. Keeps going. And then he's got everybody that produced and recorded and everything. And these are all the thank yous. And then this is a classic picture right here, man. I've seen this picture forever.
Yep.
You know, I mean, that's when it is. That's it right there. That's Edgar and Johnny, man.
Playing that Firebird.
Yep. And Johnny, I mean, Edgar sitting right there with him, man, just rolling with it, you know. So, I mean, needless to say, I love this one, man. This is top couple that we've done this year, in my opinion.
Well, to me, it just brought back so many memories, and it just made me really realize good music's still out there.
Yeah, man.
And these people that he had on there, let me tell you something. When I found out Greg Bichonette was playing drums on most of the tracks, other than Taylor's track, and other than there was one other track.
Taylor's track. Taylor didn't play the drums.
He just sang.
He sang. That was it.
Okay.
Which is
I know Ringo was on a track too.
Ringo's on one track, but the rest of it's Greg.
Yeah.
He plays every song except for the Ringo song.
I just love the approach of these musicians that have been in it for so long, and they come back and they can make this sound fresh.
Yep. Yeah. I mean,
and they were stuck to the arrangements too. They did not twist anything or turn anything. They just went in there and they picked up their instruments and they did exactly what they were supposed to do.
You are spot on. And this album here, I want to go ahead and start going down the tracks so we can talk about each one, and I can tell you who played what, because I don't know if you've got the track listings.
I don't have the track list, but you know, the only thing I had available.
Well, when yours comes in, man, you're gonna have, this booklet will make you cry when you read some of the stuff in here.
I'm gonna get the vinyl.
Yeah. I'm gonna get a bigger booklet.
Oh yeah.
You know,
I'll be able to read it.
Yeah. So the first song, yeah, exactly. Actually, you can read it pretty good. It's black and white, man. I mean, we're old, you know?
Yeah,
So,
but I'm talking about the size of the print count.
yeah. All right. So the first song we got is Mean Town Blues, and that's a Johnny Winter song written by
Oh
Johnny
my
Winter.
God.
And this one
Dan,
here,
dan, dan, dan.
well, see, this one, Edgar said that he wanted to do a Johnny shuffle because Johnny does great shuffles. And he said this is one of his favorite songs that he did his little shuffle with, right? And so he got Joe to come on here and play it. And he needed somebody that could play slide, right? So he's like, Joe, why don't you play slide on this? And Joe says, man, I don't know if I can do it.
David Grissom.
No, Joe came back and did it.
Did he?
He said, yeah, he went home for about 3 weeks and, did it and practiced it and came back and laid it down. And it was like, it was perfect. He's
Oh
like,
yeah, I remember reading something about it. Yeah,
yep.
but they got David Grissom on a track too.
Yeah, there's David Grissom's on a few. So, yep.
Yeah.
So that one, you had Sean Hurley on bass. And Sean Hurley, I've got some notes on him. He's played with like John Mayer, Gwen Stefani, and Alanis Morissette, a few other people. So he's playing the bass, and then Greg Bissonette is drums. So basically, you got Joe Bonamassa, Sean Hurley, and Greg Bissonette with Edgar. That's it. That's the first song, and it's killer.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's a killer opening tune.
Yeah. And then you get to the second song, which is Still Alive and Well.
Yeah.
Right. And this was written by Rick Derringer for the Johnny Winter and band. Right.
Yep. And right here, you want to hear how close to the arrangement they did. Find this Roadwork album and compare it.
Yep.
I'm telling you right now, you won't put this album down either.
Yep. Well, this one here, this funny about this one is so Phil X, I call him Phil X. It could be Phil 10. I think it's Phil X though.
Phil X.
So he did all the guitar work on here except for the guitar solo. So what happened was they brought in Kenny Wayne Shepard to play. And he comes in and he did this song and he's like, well, we want you to do the solo on this one. So Kenny Wayne goes in there and he nails it. And that was it. And he was like, Kenny Wayne says, man, is that all you got? Because I mean, I want to do some more. I mean, I just don't want to do a solo. So we'll talk about that later on another song. So for this one, you had Phil, you had Sean Hurley again, Greg Bissonette, and then Kenny Wayne Shepard doing the solo, which to me, I thought he did a great solo. I heard somebody trashing him, calling him a Stevie Ray Vaughan wannabe. But to me, it didn't sound anything like Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Kenny Wayne Shepard?
Yeah.
No.
I saw somebody the other day talking about, I can't believe they put Kenny Wayne Shepard, a Stevie Ray Vaughan wannabe, on this record. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me, man. I thought it was great.
I'm going to tell you what,
people are just mean, man.
I'm not going to. I worked with this guy, J.R. Sims, and he worked with the keyboard player that Stevie Ray Vaughan used. And he's from Texas. And I don't know, man. People like that.
I mean, I don't know why the guy's hating on Kenny Wayne Shepard, man. I mean, I'm not a big Kenny Wayne Shepard fan, but there's nothing that he did on this record that wasn't good.
No, I'm not a big fan of Kenny Wayne Shepard either. I mean, I can't tell you I would go out and buy an album of his, but I will not turn him off on the radio if he comes on.
And now he's actually doing the singing on his own songs. He used to have a singer.
Right.
Now he's actually taking it up himself. So, I mean.
It is kind of unique to watch him play.
Yeah. Yep.
But, yeah. No, I mean.
Would you ever associate him?
I did not hear anything that even related to Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Me neither. I mean, have you ever listened to Kenny Wayne Shepard and said, man, he sounds like a Stevie Ray Vaughan wannabe?
No.
Me neither. So I don't know where the guy's coming from anyway. That's his opinion. So whatever. I don't even know who it was. So
probably somebody that's never really listened to the blues.
Right. You're probably right. You'd be probably exactly right. Except for Stevie Ray Vaughan. That's the only one he's ever heard.
Right. Yeah. That and them and ZZ Top or something.
Yeah. So then we get the Lone Star Blues. And this song Edgar wrote because he was talking about how him and Johnny used to sit around and talk all the time. And he all they, Johnny always wanted to be a star. He's like, man, all of our life, when we were kids, he dreamed of being a star. He wanted to be famous, and he worked so hard and he did everything, and he finally got it. And then he hated being a star because it just was not what you want to, we're expecting. He was lonely. So, and they're from Texas, right? So you got to play on words here.
Okay. Well, you got to picture this too now. Think about it. From Texas, probably the hottest place on the planet
At the time.
and they're albinos. So,
Right. That, yeah. Oh, you mean heat wise. Okay.
so how are they going to exist in a social scenario in the middle of Texas?
Right.
You're right. I mean, most of their time's probably spent indoors.
Yeah, you're right. And then, with the Lone Star Blues, you got Lone Star State. And you also, when you're a star, you're alone a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to play on words there, which is really cool. So,
yeah.
And what he did was he talked to Keb Mo about doing this song, right? So Edgar put his vocals down first, and he said he did like a really gritty Johnny type sound, and then he sent it to Keb Mo, and Keb Mo kind of redid a lot of stuff, which Keb Mo does all the guitars, he plays the bass, and he does vocal work on it, and then Edgar does the other vocal work, and then of course Greg Bisonette on drums. So when he sent it back, he's like, man, Keb Mo's voice sounds so good, I got to redo my part. So he took out all the gravelly stuff, and he came back and did what you hear now. And then him and Keb got together and they finished it up. So I thought it was a great song. Typical Keb Mo. To me, it sounds like Keb Mo wrote it. Right. He made it his own, and I love it. And I like that he actually inspired Edgar to go back and do it the way it turned out, honestly. Right. So I thought it was great. Another great song.
That's what the music community is all about. You feed off of each other. You you don't look at things as criticisms, and you don't when you're dealing with people that know what they're doing, you don't have to hold their hand and direct them.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. If you're doing it for the love of music, then that's what you wind up with, is a handful of love. You know?
So I'm 3 songs in, and I'm loving every 3 so far. So now I get to I'm Yours and I'm Hers. This is another Johnny Winter, originally Johnny Winter song that he wrote. And this one's got Billy Gibbons and Derek Trucks. Okay.
Yep.
So you got Billy, Derek, you got Dave Grissom on guitar on this one. Sean Hurley's on bass, Edgar Winter's doing the keys, and a Greg Bisonette on drums. All right. So to me, I mean, it's like, it's unbelievable. I love this song from the time it started to the time it ended. I mean, Billy Gibbons is nailing the vocals on this. I loved it. I felt like this is what Johnny was about. It was down and dirty. That's what he always talks about. He always wanted to be down and dirty. This song was down and dirty. I loved everything about it. The solo work, you could tell when Billy Gibbons did his solo. You could tell when Derek Trucks came in on the slide. It was just, I have written in my notes, effing awesome. This song was just effing awesome, dude.
I was so glad that Derek Trucks did not overplay his slide parts, because I'm going to tell you what, with the Allman Brothers stuff, I got to where I couldn't listen to him.
Yeah.
He was so
over
the top with it. It's almost like the Jeff Beck-ish type thing. The only thing with Jeff Beck is I love what Beck's doing.
Yeah.
Nobody else can do it.
Yeah. Well, I will say that, it was a perfect song. They both killed it.
Yeah.
Just the switching the solos. I mean, the way Billy sang it, I thought it was fantastic, man. And you got Billy Gibbons from Texas coming in here, ripping it apart. And it was great. This was one of my favorite songs on the record. I mean, it kicks butt.
Yeah.
But then we get to number 5, which really, I don't really need to hear this one again, right? But it's got a meaning to it. So when Edgar and Johnny were like, he said 6 years old, but his mom, I think, corrected him and said Edgar was only 4 years old. That him and Johnny did Johnny Be Good. This is the next song, number 5, Johnny Be Good.
Right.
on a TV show at the age of 4. They were doing this song. So he felt like he had to put it on here. You know, it was like they've done it since they were little kids. They've done it all through their careers. And I mean, this one, all the guitar work was done by Dave Grissom.
And here's the thing, okay? Now, I actually quit associating with the guy because he said he will never play Johnny Be Good again.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you something. You know what? The song is forever etched in rock and roll.
Yep.
And guess who wrote it? Chuck Berry wrote it. And guess what? Chuck Berry and Little Richard, they are
rock and roll
parents of rock and roll. They are the ones that invented rock and roll. So you're going to stand there and tell me you're not going to play Johnny Be Good? Well, you guess what? I'm not going to play drums for you.
And that's why I'm not mad at it, man. I mean, I you know, I've heard this song a million times. We all have. We've played it a million times, right? But it's Johnny Be Good, man. You know, it's forever. You've got to play this song. And
listen to the groove that Greg Bichonette's putting on the back end of that song. I'm telling you right now, man. And it wasn't. It's nothing fancy. It's nothing special.
No.
It's just right in the pocket.
Perfect.
And he plays it with such feeling, man. It's like.
And this one here actually has Bob Glaub on bass. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now he's played with everybody: Journey, John Lennon, Springsteen, Linda Ronstadt, Bee Gees. The list goes forever. Yeah. So you got, you know, you had Sean Hurley. Now you got Bob Glaub, however you pronounce it, is on some of these. So they're switching off on the bass work. Still with Greg. And even though you switch basses, you still got that tight rhythm section, man. I mean, Greg is just in it with them, man. And then you got Joe Walsh did the lead vocals on the second verse.
Yep.
But he didn't play any guitar on it. It was only Dave Grissom. So, yep. And then Edgar, of course, sang and played piano and sax. So Johnny Be Good, take it for what it's worth. I mean, we've heard it a million times, but it had to be on here. You couldn't leave it off.
Well, I'm gonna tell you something.
They started, man.
When the song is played right, it's not about being tired of hearing it.
Mm-mm.
What you're tired of hearing is people
messing it up,
backlegging around and messing up the song because they don't want to play it.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
and if you don't put your head in the right spot, nothing sounds good.
I mean, look, when Chuck Berry jumped on Keith Richards about playing his music, look, I wrote the song, I know what chord it is. You know,
right?
Somebody says play Johnny Be Good, you're gonna play it, and you better play it right.
Well, that's the whole thing, man. It's like, come on, you know.
It's where it comes from.
Yeah, you know? I mean, like you know, yeah.
So
you're not gonna do Good Golly Miss Molly unless you can sing it like Little Richard.
Yeah, exactly.
And you know,
he better be able to do it right.
There ain't too many people that can do that. You know, now I will say Robbie House can. He used to be able to when he was with Snuff. You know, I'm telling you what, man. You know, it's but you don't walk all over the backs of the people that invented rock and roll.
Yeah.
If you don't want to play their stuff, then you don't want to play rock and roll.
That's right. Yep. So then we get to number 6, and this is Stranger. This is another one written by Johnny Winter. Now this one features Michael McDonald on vocals. Mm-hmm. Joe Walsh plays the lead guitar, and Ringo Starr on drums.
When that song came on, I had to stop it and look up who was doing what on the song.
Right. Now,
because it sounded so different than everything else on here.
And it was definitely a Ringo beat, you know?
Ringo. Yes, sir, in the pocket.
And then you got Edgar on all the keys and stuff. But it also has, you got Bob Glaub, and then you got Kenny Aronoff is doing percussion on it.
Right.
So now the one guy on here, Tim Pierce, he did electric and acoustic and rhythm guitars on this. I don't know if you've ever seen him before, but he goes with Rick Beato a lot, and they do a lot of stuff together.
Oh yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, Tim Pierce is bad. He's a bad dude. Yeah. He was the guy that went on the Johnny Carson show or Jay Leno show that time and didn't have a battery in his guitar.
Right.
And they got mad at him, remember?
Right. Yeah.
That was Tim Pierce.
I remember him talking about
that. Yeah. So anyway,
with the
So another great guitar player.
big country artist too. He was backing up. Yeah, I forget
Oh
who
yeah,
it
he's been on everything Tim
was.
has.
But yeah, the
Now this song I thought was fantastic. I like Michael's voice.
every time Michael opens up his mouth, it's like a whole chorus.
It's crazy, man. It's
It's like
crazy.
his whole fucking chorus.
Yes.
I'm sorry, forgive me for dropping the F bomb, but
All right, we're not doing it for kids.
it's just like a whole chorus of people every time he opens his mouth.
and it's so soulful.
Yeah,
So I mean, I just love the song. It was great, you know. And I honestly never heard the song before, so I need to go back and listen to Johnny's version. But I thought it was great. It was a good change up, like you said. It sounded different in every song. Even the recording sounded different than every song.
mm-hmm.
But it was fantastic song. All right, so the next song is Highway 61 Revisited. Now earlier I told you there was a guy that wanted to play more guitar than just that one solo.
Yes.
So
anyway,
that would be Kenny Wayne Shepherd, and he's on this one. And
also, what a good song to put him on, man.
It was too, and he kills it too, right? Well, originally, Johnny Edgar wanted to do slide on it because it had slide. Johnny did slide on it originally, and Kenny Wayne says, "Well, why don't you just let me lay down some stuff, and if you like it, keep it. If not, get somebody else to do it." So he came in and he did his thing, and Edgar's like, I like it so much, I don't even want to change it. So he left Kenny's part because he liked the way he did it, just traditionally, no slide, just killed it. But he did bring in a guy to play slide, and you hear it in the background, and that's John Mcphee. Now, John Mcphee is the guy from the Doobie Brothers.
Right, exactly.
So,
yeah.
And then also on organ, you got Billy Payne from Little Feat.
Little Feat, yep.
Yep. So Sean Hurley and Greg Bissonette again. So.
Yeah. Well, Billy Payne is also he was part of Emmylou's hot band.
Mm-hmm.
Lou Harris's hot band. And one thing a lot of people don't understand is Lowell George and Little Feat had a big hand in putting Emmylou Harris on the map.
Well,
they heard her up in Georgetown, up in Washington D.C.
Yeah.
And
but Billy Payne's been on a lot of stuff, man.
Oh yeah,
look at his list, and it's
musician.
Yeah, it's huge. So
yeah, him and Richie Hayward too.
Yeah.
Before he passed away, Richie Hayward was like the man to be called as far as playing drums on a lot of stuff, man.
Yeah.
I was sick to my stomach that he passed away. God.
Yeah. So then we get to number 8, which is Rock and Roll Hoochie Coo. Now this was written by Rick Derringer for the Johnny and for Johnny and Band, the same thing that he wrote for the not Lone Star Blues, but what's the other one he wrote? Still Alive and Well?
Yeah.
So Rick Derringer wrote both of these songs for the Johnny Winter and that was the band. So it was with everybody. He was going to do it with Edgar, which you just said. They debuted on that record you got there.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So now this one, you got Tim Pierce on rhythm guitars again. You got Phil X on additional rhythm guitars. Phil X sings some of the vocals in the backup vocal work. You got Bob Glaub and Greg Bissonette, but the solo is done by Steve Lukather. And he just rips this thing apart, man.
Oh my God.
So it's insane how good this song is. So Steve came in, did his part, and nailed it, man. I mean, and they kill this song. I mean, it just brings you back.
Thinking about Steve Lukather, the one person I wish that they had brought into this album, I wish that Edgar could have, would have been Vince Gill.
Yeah.
Oh my God. The guy hand the man a telly.
Yeah, he would have been good for here for sure. Maybe he'll do the next one.
It's all over with. Give him a Telecaster.
So then we get to number 9. All right. This is an old, Robert Johnson song. And he talked about that, they had to put something from Robert Johnson on here because they learned all this stuff so much. And so they got, I don't know if you know who this guy is, but you probably don't remember. It's Doyle Bramhall II.
Right.
You know who he is, right? You remember when you went and saw Roger Waters and they had that left-handed guitar player?
Yes.
That's who he is. He's also played with Eric
Germany.
Clapton.
From Germany.
So now his dad used to be a blues drummer, Doyle Bramhall, and he actually played with the Vaughan brothers and had co-wrote a couple songs with Stevie Ray Vaughan and Jimmy Vaughan. So his dad played drums for those guys on some stuff. But Doyle, we used to actually do a song called Green Light Girl by him, and he's a great guitar player. He's great with Eric Clapton. He was great with Roger Waters, and he's got some great solo stuff. So if anybody don't know who he is, you need to go check him out. But this song, he wanted to do this one. It was When You Got a Good Friend. He said of all the songs, he's like, man, I really want to do that. So he does the lead vocals and all the guitars on it. It's just Doyle that does everything on it. And you know what it was Edgar they were at the end of the record and they're like, man, you know, we don't have anything that's an acoustic version of something. We need an acoustic blues song and we don't have one. So they said, you know what, let's call Doyle. So the guy that does a lot of the engineering, Ross Hogarth, he's the engineer, mixer, producer on this record. He knew Doyle and he had worked on some of his stuff. And he said, man, I can get him to come do it. He can come do one. And he's like, great, bring him in, you know. And they did this. This was like the last song.
Wow.
Because he wanted something on there that was a Robert Johnson acoustic type blues like they used to do.
Right.
And I think it's a great song too, man. And I've always liked Doyle. I've always thought he was great. Very underrated. Nobody knows who he is. So.
Oh my God, the guy. When I saw him, they were doing Dark Side of the Moon, Roger Waters, and plus two, they did some of The Wall.
Yeah,
and he nails everything. And of course, you know, Chris Wright was still alive, so he was doing all of Gilmore's vocal parts.
Yeah, Richard Wright. Yeah.
Keys. Yeah, Richard Wright. Yeah.
And I think you also had Snowy White playing guitar too, right?
Yeah, but he just kicked back and just basically played rhythm.
But Doyle's a straight blues guy, man. I mean, he can play. He's got that Gilmore blues in him too. So
here's what got me about Doyle. Okay, not only was he playing left-handed, he was playing a telly. He wasn't using a Strat. He wasn't using a Les Paul. He was just up here with a telly, and you did not miss a thing.
And you know what else about him? He doesn't turn the guitar strings around. He just takes the guitar and flips it.
Right.
He don't restring it.
Right.
He plays it backwards. It's weird.
Jimi Hendrix does the same thing.
It's weird, man.
Keith Horn does the same thing with his basses. You know, I can't understand thinking backwards like that. You know.
Yeah, he did it.
All I could do think forward playing the scale on the bass. You know.
Exactly.
I'm not flipping it over trying to figure it out.
Yeah. All right. So the next song we get to is Jumpin' Jack Flash. All right.
Oh, yeah.
And this one, they said Edgar used to play it with Leon Russell back in the day.
Oh my God.
And then of course he used to play with Johnny also, you know. So they all still had that connection, but Johnny loved Jumpin' Jack Flash. So he kind of did this for, you know, the family, basically, is what he said. Now this one you got, you know, Edgar doing the lead vocals and keys. Now Phil X does all the guitar soloing on this one. And then you got none other than, you ready for this? The guitar player that's played on everything that's ever been written, Mr. Waddy Watchell.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, he's on rhythm guitars. He's on everything.
Guess who?
Bring Waddy in, man.
Guess who I saw? Speaking of Waddy, I was watching some YouTube earlier today, and a Stevie Nicks video, live video, doing White Winged Dove.
He's played on all of the live stuff.
Directing the band too.
Yep, he was. He's her band director.
That was Linda Ronstadt's man right there. I
mean, he just went from Linda to Stevie.
Yeah,
So you also got Kenny Aronoff does the timbali solo on here, where Edgar was going to do it, but he said it was COVID and he didn't want to go in there and you'd be around people. So Kenny said he could do it from his home. And he went ahead and put the timbali solo on there.
Right.
And of course you got Greg on drums again. So, and then Bob Glaub on bass. Which is it's a good song, man. I mean, they did a great job on it, and Phil X kills this solo, dude.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he's ripping, man. And Phil, I got a couple notes on Phil, and he played with Triumph back in the day. He replaced Richie Sambora and Bon Jovi. He's played with Rob Zombie. I mean, he's done it all. I've heard the name Phil X since the '90s.
Oh yeah, I have too. I
know,
have too.
So,
But
and he's great guitar player.
hey, here's a little side note with Greg Bichonette now. His brother is bass player.
Mm-hmm.
You know who he's playing bass for, don't you? And has been ever since the bass player passed away. Elton John. He's been with Elton John for
yeah.
he's been playing for him for almost 30 years now, man.
Wow, really? I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
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 That's cool.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, it's such a small community when you're dealing with these musicians that we're talking about on this album.
Yeah.
Every one of these guys at some point in their life or other have all crossed paths and all worked together before,
And Greg Bisonette's very impressive drummer too, man.
Oh my God, man.
And everything he's done on this record is tasty.
Yeah, he doesn't overplay. He will never overplay.
Yeah, and he's doing some double bass kicks in there, and they were so tasty. It was like, man, this is really awesome. Him and both bass players played it well together, really well together.
He's playing real basic double bass. That's about as far as I can go with double bass.
Yeah, because that's all it really required.
It's all, yeah. I mean, you don't need to smash and
not at all
doing doubles and all this stuff on.
Nope. It was
on.
great. It was great, man.
People, you play it so people understand it.
Yep. So then we get to song number 11, and song number 11. Let's see. Do I got anything written about anybody here? Not on this one. All right. So song number 11 is "Guess I'll Go Away," right? And this is the one that Taylor Hawkins is on. Yeah. And like I think we were talking earlier that this is probably his last recording, right?
Yep, it was the last studio work he did.
So I was surprised that he only did the vocals. He's only done vocals on here.
Well, it was just released here, about maybe 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they finished it up about a month ago.
I'm not even sure if it was released. I think it was only a week ago it was released.
Well, what I'm saying is they probably just polished it up about 6 weeks ago.
Yeah.
7 weeks ago. And they probably brought Taylor in to maybe possibly clean up the vocals he had already done or just lay down the vocal track.
Yeah.
And walk away.
Yeah, he came in.
They were out on tour.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what he said. He said he appreciated him taking the time out to stop his tour to stop in and do the vocals on this. So
yeah,
because Taylor wanted to be part of it,
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is another one that was written by Johnny, another down and dirty song, and Taylor nails the vocals on it. I was surprised.
Taylor's vocal work was outstanding. I mean, I knew he could sing, but my exposure to his singing was when they did the big concert over there in England, and Jimmy Page showed up and played, and Taylor got up there and sang rock and roll with Dave Grohl playing drums, and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and I mean he was straining to hit the parts, So that was my exposure,
Yeah.
Been a long time since a rock and roll. It's like, yeah, oh yeah.
Well, this one here, you also got Doug Rappaport on here. He's the guitar player for Edgar Winter's band,
right,
for a long time.
Right.
Now he tears this solo up, dude. I mean, he played all the guitar parts on this one, and he rips it. And you got Edgar Winters on organ on this one, and Sean Hurley and Greg Bisonet again. So, man, another great song, And then we get to number 12. This is "Drown in My Own Tears," right? So this one, the story on this was that Edgar, this is the first time Edgar ever recorded on a record with his brother Johnny. It was called First Winter, and they did this song, "Drown in My Own Tears."
I remember that album. I think I actually had that album.
Yeah. Well, it's the first time they ever recorded together on a record. So he said he was very emotional. He got choked up on this one. He did it 3 times before, they were happy with it. So he finally got through it without, breaking down too bad.
Right.
Which when you hear him sing it, it's like um, you can tell that it's choking him up. And they do the Ray Charles version, and it really sounds like the Ray Charles version. I mean, I thought it was great. It reminded me a lot of what Ray Charles did. You know, you had some guys from Tower of Power playing the horns on this one,
Mhm. Well,
and it was fantastic, man. I don't think much you could really say other than you got to listen to it to understand
yep.
and
Oh
appreciate
yeah.
it. So
Yeah. I mean,
kind of a
yeah.
tearjerker, really.
Well,
This one.
yeah. It's you know, I don't know how he got through the whole damn thing without breaking down.
Well, especially that one, man, because just listening to the words, it's like, I mean, it's almost about what he's going through,
Yep.
I mean, I know it's been 8 years since Johnny passed, but still, you don't forget stuff, that don't go away.
No, it doesn't go away.
So that was a tough one, man. And even listening to it for me kind of got me a little,
Yep.
you know. So then we get to what I call three of the best guitar players you could ever want right in a row. Unbelievable. So
Yep.
you got self-destructive blues. So
Yep.
what this is Joe Bonamassa at his finest. This is what he does, man. I mean, when he was going down the list with Edgar and Edgar said this song and Joe said, "Hey, stop. You're doing self-destructive blues. I'm doing that one." He said, "That's the first song I ever learned by Johnny that I ever played in my band." He said, I'll take that one. I got that. That's me. I can handle that one." And
Yep.
man, he just kills it on this song. This is the kind of stuff I love hearing Joe do when he
Yep.
plays like this. Fantastic,
Yep.
right? And then, so you go from Joe Bonamassa to the next song, which is Memory Payne, which features none other
Warren
than Warren
Haynes.
Haynes, right? So then, they're Warren Haynes, Edgar said, Warren Haynes walks in. He said, "Yeah, I'll do that. That's old Percy Mayfield. They wanted to do an R&B song. And when Warren heard that song on the list, he said, "Yeah, I'll do Memory Payne. I got that." He said, Warren walked in, stepped up to the microphone, plugged the guitar in, played the song from start to finish, and that was it. And walked back away. And he was done. First
Mm-hmm.
take, out.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then you can tell, man, when you're listening to it, that it sounds live. It really does sound like you're listening to him live. And he just goes in there and does what Warren Haynes does, man. And I
Yeah.
mean, he's the best at that. I
Well,
mean, the guy is phenomenal.
Warren Haynes had to step in to some big shoes when he walked into the Allman Brothers, and you know, he more than covered it.
Mm.
Not only could he cover it with guitar, hell of a singer too, man.
And he made some of the stuff his own. I mean, really.
Yeah, he
And
did.
then you go listen to Government Mule, and it's like, wow, this guy
Oh
is
my
just
God.
phenomenal.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
then you get Joe Bonamassa, then you got Warren Haynes.
Mm-hmm.
Now comes Robin Ford. It's like you got to be kidding me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, how can you not buy a record that has Joe Bonamassa, Warren Haynes, and Robin Ford in a row?
Right. Right.
I mean, so they're doing Stormy Monday, which I thought Edgar did great vocal work on it.
He
And he
did.
said that Johnny used to sing all the songs all the time, and he wanted Edgar to sing one. So he told him this would be the one. You sing this one. Give me a break for the night.
Yeah.
So he felt like he had to put this one on here, and he did it in like a jazzier style. So he couldn't pick anybody better than Robin
Yeah.
Ford with the jazzy blues stuff. You
Right.
know.
And I was going to say, I love the way they did Stormy Monday, but again, stepping back, the one and only version of this song that should ever exist, honestly, and it's hard for anybody else to ever touch this song, is when the Allman Brothers did it.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
mean, there's
with
no
Greg
doubt.
singing it and Dwayne playing and the way they introed the song, the way that just the whole arrangement of the song by the Allman Brothers is just untouchable.
Yeah, it is.
So, and but
But I will
I gotta
say,
say, I gotta say that what they did with their arrangement and their approach,
mhm,
I I loved it. You know,
especially in the middle when it goes to that double time rule in there,
right?
and then Robin just picks right up and rolls it, and then comes
Mhm.
right back into the slow blues, and it's
Yep.
like, I mean, that's jazz. That was the jazz aspect all the way, and it's like, wow.
Yep.
And they didn't miss a lick. It just went right in and right back out, and it was like, wow.
Hmm.
So that was the highlight for the song to me when they
Yep.
got to that part. And
Right.
again, when you're talking about songs like Stormy Monday and Johnny Be Good and Jumpin' Jack Flash, I mean,
Right.
you know, they've been done so many times, and it's just it's just he felt they needed to be on here,
Yep.
and that's why he put them on here. And I ain't mad about it, you know.
No, I'm not. No,
Yeah, I
don't
know.
get me
Yeah,
wrong on that. You know, I just think they they bit a big bite off of the cookie when they
yeah,
decided to do Stormy Monday.
right. I
Uh,
mean, it took a lot. I mean, and I honestly thought his vocals were probably better on that song than most of the other songs. I thought he really sang it well
oh, he did. He
for,
did. Did.
so then we get to number 16, and this one is Got My Mojo Working.
Yeah.
So they wanted to do a Muddy Waters or a Lightning Hopkins or some kind of tribute to one of them guys, because that's what Johnny and him grew up on and they learned them. So they went and did the anthem for Muddy Waters, and it was
Right.
Got My Mojo Working. And this
Yep.
one they brought in Bobby Rush,
Yep.
who is another legend, And I mean, it's like every song there's another legend, man. I mean, you're just nailing them now at this point. It's like, I mean, we'll talk about that later, but so Bobby comes in there, he plays a harmonica and does all the vocals. I mean, he's a blues legend. You can feel that Chicago style in there. And originally he was from Louisiana, but he went to Chicago, and he was the Chicago blues guy. He might have been a transplant, but he was right there with the best of them.
Oh yeah.
And he still is. And he's
Mhm.
like 85 or something, and he's still out there
Oh yeah.
doing it. And
Oh
then you
yeah.
also had Michael McDonald and John Mcphee doing backup vocals on here. So when you hear all that backup, that's Michael McDonald and John McPhee.
It's just two people.
That's it. One person makes it sound like 10, and then John McPhee.
Yeah. Exactly.
So now we get to the end of the record, the 17th song.
Oh
And
my
normally,
God. This song.
normally I
This,
would be, I don't like to end it with a slow song, but man, this one, I pretty much cried
I did too.
listening to this song,
I
because
couldn't I couldn't keep listening to it. I mean I didn't stop it. I listened to it all the way through, but
well, let me tell you.
I was pretty emotional, you know,
Yeah,
during
I mean, this album hits you, man. If you and like I said, the best show I ever played was when our band opened up for Johnny Winter, and it was amazing. And I've always had a spot in my heart for Johnny. I've always thought he was a great blues guy, and losing him, you know, was a bad thing. But let me tell you a little bit about this song and why it really is a tearjerker. So here's a couple of the words in it. Songs may end or just fade away, but the music never dies. Stars may shine and burn in the night. Here on earth, we hear their cries. But I'm standing. Yes, I'm still standing after all this time, through all the hopes and fears, all the joys and tears. Now it still appears I'm standing at the end of the line. Right now, let me
Yep.
tell you why that means a lot more than people know. Johnny and Edgar never had kids,
Yep.
so they were it. That's the end of the winter line. There is no more winners in that family. So once Edgar goes, the winter line is done, and that's what he's talking about. He's like, I'm the last one, and I'm standing here. I'm at the end of the line, you know.
Hmm.
So that really made me even want to cry even more, you know, because it's like, I don't know why they never had kids, or if there was some reason they couldn't. I mean, I know they're both albino, but I don't know if that means anything or not. But I mean, I wouldn't think it would, but it's just weird that they never had kids. And,
Amazing. I
this is
think
the last song. And then, normally, like I said, I don't like slow songs at the end, but this one was such a heartfelt song. And
well,
I I was really into it. And then all of a sudden, in the middle of it, the whole band comes in, and
yeah,
it surprised me because I was happy with it just being a piano ballad.
yeah.
But then the whole band comes in, and I'm
And
like, it's
David
even
Campbell,
better.
David Campbell doing the string arrangements. Yeah,
Yep. David Campbell strings in there. He composed it and had some of his guys there. And man, I love
it's
that song.
so many. Well, I mean, there's a lot of different meanings to the song,
Yep.
and you know what what I see that Edgar did, he laid out the whole thing, and you basically took a trip through Johnny and Edgar Winter's life,
Yep.
and
That's exactly what it is. And I was listening to it earlier, and my wife's like, watching me, and I'm like, man, this is totally a story of them from when they were kids to
yep,
when they're to the last day, basically.
yep,
I mean, that's this whole story. It's the Winter legacy,
hmm,
all in one record.
yep.
And I mean, it's crazy. And another thing too, the piano was recorded by Steve Porcaro. The last Porcaro brother left.
And
Uh,
that's so funny. I just saw a thing on him on YouTube, watching YouTube earlier today. It's an interview with him,
mhm.
and they're like, people were asking, "Well, do you think Toto will ever get back together?" Of course, this was an older interview. Of course, they did get back together,
Right, right.
but yeah, he was talking about how he used to carry around. He had wet dreams about being surrounded with keyboards the same way as Keith Emerson.
Yeah.
He said, now when I go out on tour, he goes, they asked me to go out, and he said, I figured, well, I'll just go out for this tour, and he put together just a minimal keyboard thing. Stayed on tour for 10 years.
Yeah.
So,
Minimal keys.
minimal keys.
Well, one other thing I wanted to mention about this record is it would have never happened if it wasn't for Bruce Corto. Um, so Bruce Corto was a computer software company owner, and they
Mhm.
were going out of business. And he's getting interested in he wanted to get interested in the music and um, film and stuff.
Uh-huh.
So he felt like he could bring ideas for people that were real musicians to be able to get out there and record again. And I want to say, I don't know the exact story, but I want to say Ross Hogarth is the one that maybe it was somebody else. I'm not sure. But anyway, Bruce went all in with him. He sat down with Edgar and he said, listen, because Edgar didn't want to do this. He didn't want to do this record ever. He never wanted to do a tribute to Johnny because he didn't want it to be a money thing. And he said somebody's probably going to do it, and that's just the way it is. But he didn't want to do it. So here we are 8 years later, and he finally decided, after talking to his wife and probably his manager or whoever, his friends, couple friends or whatnot, and they decided that it was probably time to go ahead and do it.
Mhm.
So Edgar said, if we do it, we're going to do it right. So they got up with Bruce Corto, who was starting his own record company. And he said, listen, I'll give you whatever. He said, I'll do whatever it takes to get it right. I'm going to donate all the money I make to less fortunate musicians so that they can do stuff also. And Edgar said from that point, he knew that this was the right guy to go with. So then he brings in Ross Hogarth, who he's known as an engineer and mixer forever. And they just started piecing it together, man, and bringing in these extremely talented people, which, you got the best of the best here, pretty much. I mean, you don't have them all. There's some you could bring, but overall, when it comes to straight blues, Johnny Winter style blues, you got the best of the best right here on this record.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say. For the ground you're covering, it's more than covered.
Yep.
And
Exactly. And I mean, I don't know. To me, I'm going to say something that you're going to be surprised by, and everybody that's ever watched any videos is going to be surprised by it. But I'm giving this one a 10. I am, man, because I mean, it may not be the best record out there, but to me, it touched me, and I wouldn't. I actually The only thing I would change about this record was maybe add a couple more songs.
Yeah.
I could have went to 20, man. I needed 20. I know
Well,
it's probably over about an hour and 20 minutes, right?
I'm gonna go with the 10 plus because Johnny and Edgar were a big part of my life growing up as far as music. I learned so much from live performances and Edgar Winter road work with White Trash, Jerry
Yep.
LaCroix on vocals, and Johnny making appearances with him. I learned so much about performing live just by listening. There was no such thing as videos when I was coming up at that time.
Yeah. Yep.
You wanted to see a movie, well, it was a bootleg, and sound sucked, and the video was so jerky and grainy you couldn't even watch it. So, yeah, I mean, I can attribute a lot to this Grand Funk Railroad live.
Mm-hmm.
Believe it or not, you know, I mean, any of the live stuff, Humble Pie, which is something we need to dig into later,
Yeah.
covering some of the old classic stuff, because I went through. Anyway, that's a whole nother
Right.
set of
Well, I
circumstances.
mean, talk about Humble Pie. That one song that they did, that Billy Gibbons sang, "I'm hers and I'm yours."
Yep.
It reminded me of "I Don't Need No Doctor." There's a couple parts on there that had that "I don't need no doctor." Now I'm not sure who did theirs
Right.
first, whether Johnny or Humble Pie, but there was a lot of stuff that were very similar, which
Well,
actually was a Ray Charles song,
yeah,
but Humble Pie did it too.
Humble Pie did it. I'm sure Johnny. It's probably a coin toss of who put it out there first. I'm
Yeah.
sure, because Ray was probably touring real heavy at that time.
But anyway,
but like I say, this we're talking about the roots of rock and roll here,
yeah.
and there's not a musician alive, I believe. I don't know though. I did meet the one that didn't want to play Johnny B. Good, so I mean,
Yeah.
go figure. But
Yeah,
anyway, when you bring it down to the roots, you got to have it in your soul. You
yeah.
got to put it in your pocket and be able to roll with it.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what these guys did.
They did.
And I'm going to tell you something. I don't give a damn if you want to listen to Porcupine Tree, or if you want to listen to the Rippingtons,
Mm-hmm.
or if you want to listen to Buck Owens. I don't care. Unless you can feel that the soul and the heartbeat of the music,
Yep.
you don't have anything. These guys nailed everything, and they didn't change one thing. All they did was follow the arrangements.
All I'm saying is, when you got Bonamassa, Robin Ford, Billy Gibbons, Steve Lukather,
Yep.
Derek Trucks,
Yep.
Kenny Wayne Shepard, Tim Pierce, Waddy Waddell. I mean, Warren Haynes. I mean, how can you not give that a 10?
No.
I mean, there's
well,
no way.
I mean, and Greg Bichonette on drums.
Greg Beeson on drum, two great bass players playing.
Ringo. Yeah. I mean,
Ringo's on here, and they had the All-Star Ringo's All-Star Band connection, because I mean, all these guys have played with Ringo at some time or another.
Oh yeah.
So,
I mean,
but
Greg
one thing I will
is
say,
Ringo's drummer.
other than the fact that I did open up for Johnny Winter, which to me, again, for the third time in this video, I'll say was one of the best things that's ever happened to me live. I also want to say that Edgar is really one of the reasons why I never perform inebriated, because we used to do Frankenstein, and we also used to do Cheap Sunglasses. And if I ever drank or did anything to alter my brain while I was on stage, I get lost between Frankenstein and Cheap Sunglasses, because they're pretty similar bass lines. And if I'm not thinking, I would start one song and then I'd start playing another song. So that was one reason why I've always said I'm never going to play with any kind of pollution, because I have to be able to maintain with these songs. And Frankenstein was one of the reasons why, because I needed to know how to play that song the right way. Everybody knows Frankenstein. And you play that wrong, you're going to hear it.
Yep.
But then when, if you play it back to back with like Cheap Sunglasses, you're like, which song am I on again? Because I'm not really sure, But anyway, all right, well, we'll go ahead and finish it up, man. I'm telling you, I love this record so much. I've heard it like 5 times in the last 2 days. I mean, all the way through. Love this thing. I don't skip anything on here because I love everything about this one.
All you do is hit play and just walk away and listen to it. That's
And
all
I think
you
it means a little more too with the Taylor Hawkins thing, man. I mean, his last recording probably ever. So, it's great, man. I mean, if you don't even have to like the blues, man, there's some great music on here. Trust me, this is an album, CD, whatever you want to buy it in. You got to get this one for your collection because it is great. It's a 10. It's the first 10 that I've given any record in our reviews.
Yep. So. And I mean, I'm giving it a 10 plus. And the thing I'm going to add to what you just said about not liking the blues. Well, here's the thing. It's that whole scenario of you got to crawl before you walk.
Yep.
And to get to the point of the music that you're listening to today, it all came up through the blues.
That's right.
And the blues came up through the field music that the slaves were having put out there. And that's exactly where it came from.
Yep.
And let me tell you something. You want to walk down that street, you got to talk the talk as you're walking.
That's right. So, I mean, nothing but from the heart and soul, man.
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
All right. Well, here it is. Go get it. Edgar Winter, Brother Johnny. You'll notice I didn't say one thing about the album cover. Not one, because I ain't got nothing bad to say about this one. 10 for me, 10 plus for Mike. Go get it. You'll enjoy it. It's fantastic. Yep. And with that, till next time, y'all stay safe.
Peace out. Listen to the music.